Welcome, welcome, everybody. I just wanted to pop on, make sure that everything was set up right. So we'll give everybody a few minutes to join us. Like I said, I was hoping that things were working out today. Get things centered out here for us. We are going to have a fun morning doing some Christmas cards. I have a very busy day scheduled today. Oh, my goodness. When aren't my days busy, right?
You got to talk, Mom. Otherwise, you're going to have all this empty air while people are joining.
Well, no, because I mean,
Well, when they join and watch a replay, they're going to think they lost sound.
oh, no, you haven't lost sound. I just wasn't talking. It's about a minute till. Hi, Charlene. Good morning. I hope you are enjoying this cooler weather that we're having in central Missouri. I know I am. It's very nice and refreshing not to have 90-degree temperatures. So that's always great. So welcome, welcome everybody. My name is Sue Sanders and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator at Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. I normally do my Thursday lives in the evening, but I do have a meeting tonight and I have been out of town for most of the month of August. So I am getting back into the groove of things. If you are watching the replay, just comment that you're watching the replay. Let me know what card is your favorite today, and you will be entered into the drawing to win those cards. These are the cards that I made last week or the week before I left. I can't even remember. But Cindy McGee is the winner of these cards. I believe this was on the 21st. Like I said, my weeks have just kind of gone way out there because I've been gone. No, this must have been 2 weeks ago because I did not have time to do one last week before I made a quick trip out to Colorado to see my grandson. So yes, Charlene, it is great not having the air conditioner running constantly. However, I have not had air all summer. But great news is they are coming a week from today to install my new air conditioner and heater. So I'm excited about that. All right, so let's get started. Cindy McGee is the winner of these two cards. So I will get those out to Cindy. All right. And Charlene, I believe I have some cards I need to get in the mail to you from before I went to convention and my life started turning upside down. So I will get those in the mail this weekend to you. Today, we are going to be using the Snowy Delights bundle, and it is in the annual, in the September to December mini catalog. So here is the stamp set. And then we have the die set. I am using all but one die today on our two cards. So this is a wonderful, versatile set. I have used the little label for one of our cards, but I have not used the big snowflake die cut. So there is a set of 6 dies. And like I said, I am using all but that big one. It also comes with the masks for a snowflake, which are really nice. I just made one up real quick this morning, did some inking, wasn't real thrilled with my colors that I used, but this is an example of how the masks work. So there are 4 different masks that you layer. And like I said, I just wasn't thrilled with my colors that I used, so it doesn't go on the card for us today. However, I'm going to play more with this and see what we can do with some masking techniques with it. All right, so let's get started. I believe in my description, I have this card for our first one. Get my supplies out here. This is a really fun card, simple to put together. I am going to be using some of the In Color cloud cover ribbon on our card. This is what it will look like. This is the card that we're going to make today. I am using cloud cover as my base, and that is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of the Stormy Sky that is 4 by 5 1/4, and that is going to be our layer for our front. And then I have a piece of Stormy Sky also for the inside, and that is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have a piece of white that is 3 3/4 by 5. So those are the inside pieces. Then I took a piece of silver foil, and to be honest with you, ladies, this has just been in my stash. So whatever they have in the catalog, whatever you might have in your stash at home, use some pretty designer or pretty paper, either the glitter paper or the foil papers to die cut a snowflake. So this, when you get done cutting, so here is the 2 dies that I used. And I just put them together. So they kind of set inside each other. Okay. So I just put this inside here. And you just kind of tape it down. And then once you die cut that, then you are left with this. I don't remember why I took it out, but I did. But you are left with 2 pieces. And you just pop out your snowflake. Okay. So this piece, I didn't throw them away because I figured I could use those on another card. I haven't decided how yet, but I thought they're too pretty just to throw away. So, and then you also have this snowflake that you've die cut the whole thing out of that you could use for the mat of a card or on the inside of a card and then stamp your greeting on the inside. So don't throw away those scraps that you have from die cutting our snowflakes today. All right, the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to take our Versamark, and this is the little die that I showed you, and that's going to be for our greeting on the front. And we're going to take and stamp with Versamark some snowflakes on our Stormy Sea, just to give it a little bit of background texture. And it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be in any order. You just kind of start stamping your snowflakes. And they're not all going to show. And as it dries, then that Versamark gets darker. So, is anybody started on making their Christmas cards yet? I know it's sounds silly since we're just in August, but Dorothy and I were talking the other day, and the holidays will be here before we know it. And we were talking about Audrey going to homecoming dance and having to get her a dress. And it's like, yeah, that's coming up in November. And gee, we don't want to be blindsided by it. So we have to start looking for her a dressy dress for homecoming. It just seems like my months are going by faster and faster. I'm just going to do some that are kind of off the edge a little bit on some of these. And like I said, you can't really see them on camera because it's Versamark, but leave it dry and then it will darken up. Okay, so we have that completed. We will go ahead and do our stamping. I need to clean that because I'm going to be using my Stormy Sea with these snowflakes. After all that hot weather, sorry to say, but some cooler, nicer weather is going to be very welcomed. Here's my Stormy Sea. And on the inside, I'm just taking, I gotta find here's a piece of scratch paper. And I want to stamp off my Stormy Sea to stamp. I am so out of my routine, I can't even get this to working today for me so that y'all can see what I'm doing. So I'm stamping off, and then I'm just putting some snowflakes up in the right, upper right and lower left for my inside. And I'm going to take the saying from this set that says, sending you joy and many delights. And we're going to stamp that, not quite in the center, but give yourself a little bit of room to write a little short note if you want. So there's that. And now on our little tag, we're going to put joy to the world. They've got other ones too that we could definitely use. I just kind of wanted to keep as a Christmas card. I'm with you. I've got leftover paper from last year that I want to use up this year for making my Christmas cards and other products that our, at least our moms are going to be making and selling. So I'm going to be donating some discontinued paper. All right, so we've got all of our stamping done.
I'm looking all over for Daisy. She's in Nyla's bed.
Daisy's over by the bookshelf in Nyla's bed. She's a little bit big for it, but she thinks she fits. All right, so let's go ahead and get this attached to our inside. So what kind of cards has everybody been making? If you've been making cards. Don't forget that September 3rd is when you get to order from the mini catalog, as well as check out the new additions to the online exclusives. Right. Get this all done. And I think I mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. Stampin' Up! Is going to be changing some of their packaging. So instead of having the DVD cases for their stamps, they're going to be coming now in the heavy envelopes, like the dies come in. So they'll have, because you don't need a whole lot of space for the photopolymer stamps. So that's a change that's coming.
Sue, what
They
if
are-
I don't like? What if I don't like those new packaging? Can I still buy?
You can still buy the CD cases that you can get out of the catalog. I believe there's 4 of them, and I don't quote me on the price because I can't remember. Okay, so now we're going to take that piece of Stormy Sea and we're going to tie or cut a piece of ribbon as I spill everything. And all I'm doing is just cutting a piece. This is about 6.5 inches long. And I'm going to put it on and tape it in the back so you can save some ribbon that way. You don't need to have ribbon wound around the whole card base. So they are also going to be doing away with the red rubber stamps. And I know that a lot of people like the red rubber. There are several things that I like in the red rubber, but the materials, the raw materials, are getting harder for Stampin' Up! To find at a price that is reasonable. As we all know, the price of everything has gone up. Change is inevitable, I think. And because of them doing away with the red rubber, they are also going to be doing away with the Stampin' Write markers. Because one of the things that the Stampin' Write markers was great for was stamping directly or putting ink directly on those red rubber stamps to color them in. And they have found that since they came out with the Stampin' Blends, the Stampin' Write markers have not been as popular and people aren't buying them like they used to. Which there's a pros and cons to it, I know, because you can still color with the Stampin' Write markers. All right, I just peeled off my double-sided tape. Let's see, I'm reading comments here. So, Charlene, you've been making a baby quilt for a great-grandson. Ooh, that's exciting. Yes, because you have the name on the spine, making it easier to see. I totally agree with you. And I totally agree with storing my die sets in an envelope or in a case like that. And then I have them sitting on my shelf as a pair. So I just have to rethink how I'm going to store them. But I do believe that they might be easier to store. You don't have to take up as much space with the stamp cases. So we shall see. We'll see how we work it and see how that all comes about. I've just taken another piece of ribbon here that's about 5 inches long, and we're just going to tie a knot on our card. And it's just an overhand knot. And you don't necessarily want to pull it too tight. You do want it to have that pretty knot on it. I think I pulled my example one too tight this morning, or I was trying to do it a different way and it just wasn't working for me. All right, now we're going to take some mini dimensionals and put them on the back of our snowflakes, and they're just going to go in the star shape. They're not quite small enough to go anywhere else, but I wanted it popped up a little bit. Oh, I have a little hanger here that's not come off. There we go. So I just have put them around the outline of the star. And that will hold it, and it's going to give it a little bit of dimension. So I'll tell you, I have traveled more this year than I think I ever have in my entire life, ladies. And it all started in April when I went to Florida. And then we went to then I went to Indiana. And then I went to convention. And I may have got my ribbon up just a little bit too high, but that's okay. You can find a good placement for your snowflake. I'm also going to put some dimensionals on my greeting. And then I got back home and I went to convention, and then I came home and went to another convention. And then last weekend when we went to Colorado, it was a well-needed trip. Dorothy needed to see her boy and her boy needed to see her. So I am just lifting up one of the snowflakes and putting down my joy to the world, just like that. Okay. Let's see. All right, so that is our first card. Like I said, this one I didn't place down. I placed my ribbon down a little bit more. So it's preference. It's just your personal choice. All right, so that's our first card using that stamp set and die. Our second card is similar, but not exactly. We are using shaded spruce, very vanilla, and some gold glitter paper. These are for our greeting, and that's for the inside. So when I cut out what I did was I have my snowflake die, and it is on my shaded spruce. And this measures, it's in the description below. This is 3.5 by 4 3/4. So I placed my die on my piece of paper, and then I ran it through my die cut machine. And you get something that looks like that. And you're left with this. Well, again, don't throw that away because we can definitely use that on another card. So that, I better punch that out right now, or I'll just put that die away with that in there. So you could even use this to decorate your envelope with by cutting it in half. Just want to kind of poke through those holes to get that die cut. Like I said, you have the negative and the die. So this is called the negative space. Okay, so there's our die cut that we can use on another project. I'm hoping that maybe this next week, if things don't go completely haywire, I can make up some examples using these other dies that we cut. All right. Then I have a piece of gold glimmer paper, and this is the mat for the front. It measures 4 by 5 1/4. This is going to go on the inside, and that is 3.5 by 1.5. And then I have my piece of berry vanilla. And again, in this die set, there is a die that cuts out this. So I just placed my die over my berry vanilla. And then these pieces, unless you really want to use them, I would just trash those because they're really kind of hard unless you use the adhesive paper to stick those down. Give my shaded spruce a good rubbing there, burnishing. I'm going to lay my piece of gold foil, or I'm sorry, my gold glimmer paper down on my card base. So while we were out in Colorado, friends, I'm telling you, I am so blessed that we live in Missouri. The stores don't give you bags. You have to provide your own bags or pay for bags. That would be something very hard for me to get used to. So that's a big difference to me. The restaurants, oh my goodness, very, very expensive. And then they also have a kitchen service fee, whatever that is. It's to help those people that aren't making a whole lot of wages, I guess. And so they charge like an extra $7, $8, $9, $10, depending on what your bill is. All right, so now I'm going to lay that negative down on top of my gold glimmer paper. And you could have used the adhesive sheets for this, but gluing it is just as easy. You just need to be careful not to get too much glue to the outside, but enough glue on all these little inside pieces to make sure that it stays down for you. And you could definitely pop this up on dimensionals if you so chose. But I am going to center this over our gold mat, just like so. Pressing that down, and if I have any little bits that are not glued down, then I'm going to take and add a little bit more glue so that they will adhere down flat. So it gives you a totally different look using that negative than it did using the die cut like we did on the first one. All right, on the inside of this one, we are going to put the outside greeting is a winter wish for snowy delights. And then the inside is with your family, friends, and long peaceful nights. And we're going to stamp in the shaded spruce. I love the shaded spruce color. I think it is such a pretty green, and it really goes well with gold. So we'll put this up here. Like so. And then we're going to take our outside greeting and put it on our 3/4 inch strip. This can just be a scrap. I had scraps and I didn't cut them down. I just went ahead and left them long to do my greeting on. So there is our greetings. And I'm just going to take an angle cut my greeting for the front. Going to come down just a smidgen because my A is kind of off the top, but it'll work. Okay, this piece, okay, I am using some retired very vanilla and gold ribbon. Like I said, use what you have in your stash, ladies. I believe fully that we need to use our supplies, our stash that we might have. Okay, so I've just tied a little ribbon into a bow. We're going to attach this, and I'm not popping this up at all. I'm just laying it flat. And I'm putting it down here towards the right-hand bottom corner. Make sure that you don't do what I almost did, and that was lay it down to where it was over, which it wouldn't hurt, but I didn't want that look. Okay, so there's that. And now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of my bow. You can use one of the sticky dots if you want. But put that right up there. And I'm going to take and put my tweezers on that to hold it in place while it dries, while I work on the inside of the card. So I wanted to kind of follow through with the theme. No, Charlene, I can't do a coffee and chat tomorrow. Some friends of ours from church, they lost their grandson in a accident. It's going to be 2 weeks ago down here at the lake, and he drowned. So they had his funeral last Saturday, and I wasn't in town. But then I'm assuming that evening, their mother passed away. So, in a week's time, the family has lost a child plus a grandmother and mother. So I have the funeral to go to tomorrow. So I am not going to be able to do coffee chat and a card. I am hoping that once September gets here, my schedule can go back to the way it used to be. So I took that piece of scrap gold and I am just placing it on the back side of that very vanilla that I stamped on and did the die cut so that those little snowflakes and dots show through as gold. Then that just adds something to that, I think. I really think that it's very pretty, and it just kind of goes with the whole card theme. And then we're going to attach this to the inside. Yeah, and I have September. I say it's going to calm down. It's not. Starting next Saturday, I have something with Blue Star Mothers, and then I have, let's see, is that the following week? No. Then I have the Bike Fest that we're going to be doing a booth at for Blue Star Mothers the 14th of September. The 15th and 16th of September, I will be at the air show in Jeff City. That's a Friday, Saturday. And then I get back, and on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of that following week, I'm helping to serve meals for a fishing tournament for the VFW. So it's going to be a busy month of September again, but All right, so there is, trying to get my little thing to lay down here. Sometimes you just have to make it do what you want it to do and not give up. All right, so there are our 2 cards for today. Get all this stuff out of the way. So those are the 2 Christmas cards using the same Stampin' die set, but 2 different variations. Oh, I know that I can't believe that summer's over with. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me because I don't feel like I've had any downtime. I have, but not much. And when it has, it's been because I've been traveling. So, but anyway, I hope that you all enjoy these cards. Think about getting this set. The Snowy Delights bundle that has the masks that you can do masking and the ink, or using just the dies and some pretty paper. Anyway, that's what I have for you guys today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will post pictures of these out there so that you can see what they look like. This is your favorite, Charlene? Yeah, it depends on your style, but both of them are relatively easy and quick to duplicate. And then, like I said, use your scraps, your leftover die cut pieces to make more cards with. So it's all how you do your cards. Okay, well, I will let you all get back to what you're going to be doing today on this wonderful, cool Thursday. And I will see you next Thursday at my 7 o'clock hour. I better double check. I don't think I have anything. Nope, I don't have anything next Thursday because they're putting in my air conditioning next Thursday. So I know I don't have anything going. Yay. So we will be back for our Stamping with Suzie Q next Thursday, which is the the 4th? Yes, the 4th of September. Just double checking my calendar here. Yes, September 4th, I will be back at 7 p.m. Central Time for our normally scheduled Stamping with Suzie Q. Thank you all for joining me today. You all have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe since it's Labor Day. Don't do anything crazy. Bye.